welcome to all of our members who have either dialed in to join us or who are watching this recording on demand from our YouTube channel. So just briefly, this is the 9th of April. It is our official general meeting for this quarter, and we're going to run through what has been happening in the Chamber since we last held a general meeting, which was our AGM in December last year. So to get us started, I just thought we'd just run through our agenda. So obviously a welcome from me, your chair. There'll be a chairman's report and a treasurer's report. There will also be an overview from our public officer and a bit of information about our executive committee and some reports from the various leadership team members, and then some general business. We will then close the meeting, and there won't be time for question and answer with a part of this meeting, but you are welcome to submit questions at any point in time to us, and we would recommend that you use support@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au to submit any questions you have for us. So to get into some of the discussion for today, just a quick overview of our purpose for those who may not be familiar with it. Our mission is to create a supportive and engaging environment that enables business in the Hills region to thrive, and we achieve that through our 3 key value propositions of influencing, creating connection opportunities, and access to information and resources. And we do that because the Sydney Hills business community needs to have a voice that is independent of all government bodies that represents their interests. So a really quick snapshot of what we have done so far in 2024. It's only been a few months, but probably the key highlights that I wanted to touch on is that we've spent quite a bit of time over the last 6 months appointing a whole heap of new strategic leaders who are members of our organisation, who have been actively involved with it over time, and we've brought leaders of different kinds into our Leadership Pathways program, which is designed to help develop them as leaders, but also to spread the work of what the Chamber does and the initiatives that we want to drive through different members and volunteering opportunities. There's also a new sponsorship program that is progressively being rolled out this quarter, and you as members are welcome to put your interest in for any types of sponsorship that are available, whether that's events or programs, and Richard Holland is going to be your best contact for that. And probably the other thing that's coming up, there are 2 big events that are on the agenda for the next month in May. The first is on the 1st of May, which is our Northwest Sydney Job Skills and Employment Pathways Forum. It's a 1-day event which we're encouraging all businesses and stakeholders in the education and employment sector to participate in. It's about creating real solutions to the problems of finding education, skills development and then employment in Northwest Sydney, and that's a joint initiative between ourselves, the Hillshire Council, the Hawkesbury and the Dural Business Chambers. The second event, which is going to be released later this week, is our Sales and Marketing Boot Camp, which will be a fantastic event, really worth going to for all businesses in this community. So a little bit of an overview of what we're working towards as a chamber, and the most important thing for us is to make sure that all businesses in this community are engaged with us, and that means connected to the chamber, and that could look like many different things. Not all of those businesses will become our members, and that's okay. Membership and the benefits that are associated with our membership are appropriate for many businesses in our community, but in other instances that's not true, and all they want to do is just connect to information or on an ad hoc basis, but don't want to access the benefits we have in a more intimate sense. And so that's where our goal is, to create awareness and connection through all those businesses so they can find the right tools to help them grow and support them and advocate for them through the business chamber. So a couple of important things that need to happen. Obviously, whilst we're continuing to build our engagement model and to grow our reach throughout this region, we're also needing to make sure that the business as usual functions within the chamber are working really well. And the first goal we have is around our membership growth, and that's about targeting businesses that can add value to all of our existing chamber members and to enable them to create opportunities to promote themselves, to connect together and to grow those networks and connections. The second is around partnering. That's including our new alliances program, which we'll talk more about a little bit later in today's meeting, and providing opportunity through other partnerships. Retaining the members that we have. So this is about making sure that there are diversified benefits and events and services so that each member feels that they're able to choose their own adventure, if you like, in making sure that they're able to get the most out of being a part of their chamber, and that includes volunteering opportunities as well. And getting all our foundations right. So this is just about process improvement, making sure that the experience that all of our members and guests have is a really fantastic experience, that we're obviously looking after the finances and stewarding the resources that we have, and that we have the right teams and people and staff doing the right jobs using the right systems. And that's a progressive piece of work that's been going on over the last couple of years and is continuing this year. So a couple of key plans that I just wanted to highlight. There's lots of things on this list, and if there's something on this list, and if you pause this recording to have a more detailed look, you'll see that there are things happening in all different spheres, whether that's women in business, some of our young and aspiring leaders and entrepreneurs in our startup business space. But the first one I just want to highlight is increased sponsorship options. So we've been continuously reviewing sponsorship options over the last few years. And sponsorship is very much about providing our members with opportunities where they can promote themselves to the right audiences through the chamber network and activities. So if that's something that you've been thinking about, how could I leverage the chamber to be able to get better awareness for my services and my offering, then have a chat to Richard, and he's more than happy to take you through all of our sponsorship options that are currently available and some of the ones that are also coming down the line. There are some new communication processes that we're developing that includes some LinkedIn groups that are more specialised. There's one for our women in business. We've created some other processes, and that will continue to be developed further, and that's also including re-looking at our content and what it is that we share with people when we share it, and making it a bit more tailored. And I mentioned before the Northwest Sydney Skills and Jobs Forum that's happening later this month. So a quick overview from our Treasurer. Joanne Brooker is an apology for today, but she has given us an update on our finances, and this takes us through to the end of the last quarter, which is the December quarter. So at the bank, we have a bank balance of $44,847 with total assets of $93,254. That includes our accounts receivable and debtors of $31,423. And we have total liabilities at the end of the calendar year of $67,317. And just a bit of an overview of the 6 months ending at December 31, our income was $164,406, and our expenses were $288. Just a note on that, obviously our income is less than our expenses, and that also takes into consideration some of the quieter periods that we have over that Christmas New Year period where we don't have any big events, and then we see a bit of a shift when it comes through into February and March again. So we'll do a full update again at our next session, which I believe is in August, where you'll be able to see the full end of financial year results for this financial year. But we just want to say thanks to our Business Depot team who work very hard as our bookkeepers and assist us on a day-to-day basis, and the Findex team who are our partners who provide our accounting and then our auditing services are handled by a third party through them to meet our obligations from a compliance point of view each year. If you do have questions about any of our financials or you'd like to see more detail, that is something we're very transparent about. So you can approach Joanne, our Treasurer on the board, and she'll be more than happy to take you through any questions you might have about our finances. A quick update from Dave Kashan, who is our Acting Deputy Chair and Public Officer, and is an apology for today. He's confirmed that our budgeting process for 2024-25 is pretty much completed. It is underway. There's a couple of minor things we're just locking down around our systems costs. A big thank you to Brian Doty, who has been helping us with forecasting work. We've really appreciated the work that he's done to assist our board over the last few months in regard to forecasting. And that's a really important thing that we're focusing on at the moment, because we want to make sure that all of the income streams and all the expenses and all the activities that we'd like to do to grow the chamber and continue to provide more and more benefit to our members and to the business community, that we're obviously managing our cash flow and how those initiatives will actually be supported financially. All of our ASIC and ATO obligations are up to date, and we have also had our ISO audit, which was completed late last year and included in our minutes at the end of last calendar year, and that will again happen next year or later this financial year. Our member experience planning is also underway. That's something where we're working together with our member experience strategic leaders to look at how we continue to increase the value of the experience our members get. And all our insurances are fully up to date and will be ready for renewal a little bit later this year. Again, if you have any questions about our compliance and what we do with regard to that, then please touch base with David and he'll be happy to take you through any of that information. So a little bit of an update. Since our last meeting together was our AGM, we did announce at the AGM our leadership team, and our leadership team being our executive and committee members. So you'll see them on screen right now. We also have one board vacancy, which we intend to fill this financial year, and there is a new board recruitment process that we implemented last year to make sure that the people who are joining our board have the right fit in their capabilities and their commitment to us as an organisation, and that it is a really rigorous process that we feel very comfortable will support us into the future in making good decisions about the team that leads us, not just now, but in the future. I'd really encourage you to reach out and connect with all of these people to get to know them better and their businesses and to find out more about the Chamber and how we operate behind the scenes. Further to our committee, we also have a group of newly appointed project officers and strategic leaders, and this is part of the program I mentioned earlier. So just a quick overview, we have 5 project officers who are leading strategic initiatives. Now, those strategic initiatives are quite broad and they cross over multiple portfolios of work. They include things like our advocacy, alliances and partnerships, general communications strategy, the member experience strategy, and our systems projects, which underpin everything we do. Further to that are our new strategic leaders, which are focused on specific parts of our strategy. So the 6 people who are noted here below are strategic leaders. Each are driving specific portfolios, and you can find out more about what they're doing, and we'll release more information about that progressively to the members at various different events and activities. But you're always welcome to reach out to any of these people and find out a little bit more about what they do. You'll see them at events. They'll have a Chamber leader badge on, so it's easy to identify them. So please make sure you buttonhole those Chamber leaders and ask what do they do, and maybe how do I get involved as a Chamber leader. We would certainly welcome you putting your hand up to participate. The Chamber's Leadership Development Program, which we began last year, is really all about growing really good business leaders, not just for the Chamber, but for our business community, providing some really good leadership training and support, having a framework of pathways that people can participate in and grow from volunteer right through to being a strategic leader. And it's also about succession planning as an organisation. We want to make sure that we have a really strong succession plan for this organisation, that in 10 years' time we're even stronger than we are today. Our next intake for our Leadership Pathways program will probably be late May, early June, and if that's something you're interested in, then we would encourage you to put in an expression of interest, and that just means sending a message to our team through the support at sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au to say, I'd like to find out more about the Leadership Pathways program and how I can get involved. Our new board recruitment process, as I mentioned, was launched in December at the AGM, and Michelle Neville and David Lee, from our membership team, are assisting us in the development of that Leadership Pathways program and its framework this year. So just a quick marketing update. An apology from Lee, who was unable to join us, but the team are working hard on continuously redefining what we do when it comes to marketing. And there's 2 different ways that we communicate. First is externally to people who don't know anything about the Chamber, and we want to obviously engage with them. And the second is to our existing members and our database of members and non-members about the activities of the Chamber. And we're continuously reviewing, and we've spent quite a bit of time over the last month really looking into how we can continuously improve that process and make it more engaging and really make sure the right people are getting the right messages to help them to connect to the things that they want to connect to. And so if you have suggestions about that, or you'd like to know more about that process, then we'd encourage you to reach out to Lee and the team. Lee is one of our team members who is driving the creation of our sales and marketing boot camp, and that will be a fantastic event on the 15th of May, and you'll all receive information about that very shortly. But I would highly recommend that you grab your tickets as quickly as possible because it will sell out very fast. We do have a social media database reach of about 50,000. Many of those businesses are, of course, in our own community here in Northwest Sydney, but certainly beyond that as well. And there is a strategic plan being developed around content, communications and marketing as we speak at the moment. A little overview from the My Community space. So our My Enterprise and our My Board teams have all come back at the start of this year and are meeting regularly. They're thriving, doing really well and growing. If you are not part of a My Board or a My Enterprise group, we would encourage you to reach out to Richard and Amanda in the office team and let them know you'd be interested in joining one. There's a hybrid version of different types of ways that our My Boards meet, both in person, partly in person and sometimes online, and then other groups that meet only online. So John and one of our new board members, Rebecca Kidner, are continuously reviewing that program, and we're also looking into what we do with our My Corporate teams, and we're going to be redeveloping that with a regional leaders program very shortly. Further to that, there are also some industry groups that are in their planning stages, and a couple that are already meeting, particularly around our building and construction members that Richard has been championing. So you'll see more about that this year as well. So in member connection and engagement, so this is obviously a really important part of what we do. And there's a couple of different people on the team who are working on this. Firstly, Richard, our fantastic membership and growth manager, runs information sessions every month. They're held online. He also is working with the member check-in process. That's where he's meeting on the 30, 60 and 90-day mark with all of our members so that they're getting onboarded really quickly, they're finding their feet, they're feeling connected, and they're leveraging their benefits and becoming a part of our community and feeling welcomed as much as possible. He's also handling our Member in Focus program, which is one of the promotional opportunities we have through all of our Business After Fives this year, and it is an 8-week program where you can be the Member in Focus, and that gives you a chance to really showcase your business. Further to that, Andrea McDonald, who's also on our call today, and I and a few other members are now looking at the redevelopment of our corporate member programs and our regional leaders program, which we're doing in collaboration with the Business New South Wales team. And more details about that will be released midway through this year. We've got a working group that we're just bringing together to really look at what the key initiatives and activities should be of that program as we continue to develop that further and make it an even more valuable opportunity for members. And the other thing I just wanted to note is around education. So education is an incredibly broad term that we really cover many things, but really what we're talking about is access to information here. And that can include education and training and opportunities for workshops. And there's lots of ways that members can benefit. First of all, there is the opportunity, if you run workshops and you'd like to promote those through us, there is an education portal in which you can do that. And we'd encourage you to reach out and speak to Amanda and the team about that and how we can activate that for you. But what we are also looking at is how we keep developing the kind of content and information that is adding value to our members and the business community. And one of the great initiatives we launched last year, and it's been highly successful, is our Business Minds podcast. There is a range of fantastic podcasts that are available right now. And I've got Jason on the call today. Jason, how many podcasts have we got right now?
Well, mid-30s, I reckon we're up to by now, Kerry.
Fantastic. And what's the kind of broad nature of those topics that have been covered?
I think now between Fiona and I, we have covered quite a different number of topics, but we've really tried to focus on providing helpful tips and information for business owners, and that's really been the focus, is to pull that data out of people that have had some experience in the field and try and relate that to the listeners so that they can take that into their business as some advice and some tips and tricks of how to get through some of those common challenges.
Fantastic. And what we're also expanding very shortly is we're going to have series of podcasts that are going to be put together. So one of the series that will be happening shortly is in collaboration with the Hillshire Council. The winners of our local business awards for this region will be offered an opportunity to be interviewed so we can find out more about what has made them successful. Now, some of those those businesses are members and some of them aren't members. So it's going to give us a really great cross-section of content for you to be able to benefit from. So I would recommend getting onto Business Minds podcast. Get yourself on as a playlist so you can see the new episodes coming through and enjoy all of them. If you want to be interviewed as one of our people being featured on the Business Mind podcast, then please reach out to Jason and the team. There is a section on our website for the podcast where you can inquire, and it's podcast@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au. And we're always looking for interesting speakers who can share their knowledge and tips and tricks, as Jason said. The other thing which we're developing, and Rebecca Dean, one of our new board members, is going to be working on with a few other of our members and bringing together a bit of a team to develop, is a new program which is about helping our businesses become healthier from a mental and physical point of view, and we're going to be launching that a little bit later this year. So if that's something you've got a bit of a passion for, we'd encourage you to reach out. The other thing we have running on a regular basis for all of our members is our Making Successful Connections workshops. And this is generally something that our members do towards the start of their membership to help them get, some practice on how to connect and network at our events effectively. But if it's something you haven't done in a while, or you have team members who have recently joined you or are moving into management positions you think would really benefit from going to this workshop so that they, when they're participating in our activities, feel a bit more confident about it, then please go ahead and enrol yourself. Those workshops are available on our events section of our website. And we also have our information sessions, which can be attended at any time as well if you need a bit of a refresher or you're new to the chamber and you want to find out more. So just touching on some of the member connection opportunities that we have. So we have 24 business connection events that are run throughout this year. There are business lunches and our business after fives. But in addition to that, we've also got our golf days. We've just unfortunately experienced a large flood event in the region, so we'll be shifting at where we're running our next golf day to cater for that. But we run 5 golf days a year, and that program is sponsored by Castle Hill BMW. They're a lot of fun. They're a great opportunity to get out and connect with other people for a good day on the course. And we've been expanding our Women in Business coffee catch-up. So there is a bi-monthly format, easy, to access, buy your own coffee style networking event that begins from May and runs every second month, which is sponsored by Digital Age Lawyers. And that's in addition to the International Women's Day lunch that we had in March, which is our main event for women in business for the year. The Connectors program that is run throughout our business lunches and our business after fives is a really important opportunity for attendees, particularly our members, to be intentional about their connection to other businesses and contacts at our events. So there's lots of information about our Connectors program and how it works on our website, and I would encourage you to really use that Connectors program, which we are expanding further this year with our partner Streamlined Organising, where there will be a Connectors booth at each event, which you can go to find out more information about how to better connect with people who are also attending that event. But look out for your connector list that comes out usually the day before every event. The last thing I just wanted to mention is that later this year in October, we have a very large one-day summit, which is the North Sydney 315 Summit. It includes our chairman's event, which has a regional focus of what's happening across this region with decision makers, government, ministers, etc. But it's also going to be expanded to a full day expo and conference with plenary sessions and a range of really great stuff happening for all types of businesses. So look out for the date for that. It'll be in mid-October and details of that will be coming out soon, but it'll be an annual event on the calendar that'll be really worth attending for all businesses. I just wanted to touch on member experience because it's a really important strategic part of our organisation. We can run hundreds of events and activities, but if they aren't well designed to really think about how someone experiences those events, then really they're just going to fall flat and they're not going to be something people want to attend or participate in. So I've got Dave Ferris on our call today. Dave, do you want to just touch on some of the things that's been happening with welcoming teams and obviously capturing feedback at our events?
Yeah, sure. So I guess from a board point of view, we can create an event and we think it works well. But really, what matters is how well the actual member has experienced what we're trying to create for them. So it was critical that we make our events intentionally very welcoming. And so whilst in the past we've been able to have board members at the door and encourage people, board members to engage with people that may be on their own or looking a bit lost, we set about last year to create an intentional welcoming team. And you might have had the opportunity to experience that over the last year. So we created a welcoming team, and that's now sort of concluded and has transitioned over to Amanda to be delivering. And that's a dedicated team of people that are rostered on and off, and they've got specific roles to create the sort of ambience that we want in an event when somebody rocks on up, potentially as new or feels new. We also redefined the connector program so that dovetails well with the welcoming arrangement, so that people can be led through into an event, which can be a bit confronting if there's over 100 people in a room. So being welcomed and then taken through the registration into a connector who then can engage them into the event. So once again, that's concluded, and that whole process is now being overseen by Amanda as part of her involvement. The next phase is being able to really intentionally focus on feedback, and you've seen at events our endeavour to try and elicit feedback from people using the QR codes. So that's been rolled out to the info sessions as well as the Making Successful Connections workshops, and in the future, whenever we hold an event or workshop, we'll be looking to engage and create opportunities for people to provide that feedback, just so that we know we're hitting the mark with our goals for the events. And this year is going to be more focusing on Richard's new member journey. Commences at the info session, the sign in, and then the first 90 days. And so where Richard's expressed needing help is beyond the actual individual member journeys post 90 days. So we're working to sort of develop some very intentional strategies around helping in this onboarding process past the initial 90 days. I think that's about it.
Yeah, fantastic. And why, we believe this matters is because ultimately what we are looking to create is a genuine community where relationship and the development of really high value and engaging activities and opportunities is the most important thing. And from that, we believe that will create relationships and opportunities that grow business and business relationships for all of our members. But further to that, by creating things like welcoming teams and connectors teams, we provide volunteer opportunities. And they're just small volunteer opportunities. They're not big commitment, but most members join an organisation like ours not necessarily to be a passenger, but to be active as a member. And so we want to provide more opportunities for our members to be able to input into and to volunteer and participate in life of the chamber, and not just be an attendee or a participant unless that's what they want to do at that point in time. So further, I just wanted to touch on alliances, and Karim is going to be leading our alliances program, and really what we're looking for there is exploring new alliances and our own goals for alliances. What is it we would like to be able to achieve and provide as opportunities for our members through alliance relationships, and obviously growing the value that we have in any of our existing alliances. The most important component of that is aligning the values and the benefits and the ethos of those organisations. So this is not about us continuously reinventing wheels or trying to create programs and activities ourselves and then, push those and compete against other organisations who are already doing it really, really well, or might be very specific, like industry-specific initiatives or activities. This is about us creating relationships with those organisations so that our members and their members benefit together from that collective resource. And so we're just at the process step right now of defining what those alliances should be and who would make great alliances with us. So if you are involved in an industry network or an organisation, usually another membership organisation, and you think, gee, this would actually be a really good possible alliance with Sydney Hills Business Chamber, then I'm encouraging you to reach out to Karim or any of our leadership team and have a chat and let us know about it, because we are looking to see who our members are and what their existing alliance relationships are with other membership organisations as one of our first steps in that process to make it easier to connect with those other organisations. Glenn Redgrove is one of our new project officers, and he is tasked with the big job of helping us really define and start to put together a really good advocacy program for the Chamber. We have done advocacy and obviously influencing decision-making bodies like state, federal and local council government teams over the last 10 years. But there hasn't been a really solid formal process and framework by which we do this. And that's not unusual, because most chambers don't really have anything in detail as a framework for that. But what we've decided is that this is an important part of what our organisation is about, and that includes how we work with other advocacy bodies like Business New South Wales and their policy team. So we have an alliance relationship we're developing right now with them to help to streamline that process, but also defining what our goals are for advocacy, what our local businesses need from us as a chamber to be their voice, and create a really good framework and processes for that, so that that can be established and all of our members have the opportunity to be able to give us input and feedback back into that advocacy process, and that we're representing in the right way the interests of our local business community. There are a couple of initiatives that fall within this scope. The first is the Hills PSI, which is currently open, and I would encourage every business in this community to just take 5 minutes and fill out the PSI. This is run by the Hills Shire Council every year and has been for the last 5 or 6 years. The reports from that are really worth reading. There's some really good insights that are helpful to your business as it plans. But this is a document that is used by the council and also other state government agencies to help define what's needed in the hills for the business community. So your input really does matter, because things like the Strategic Economic Development Plan and other planning has used this document as its basis, along with many other inputs, for the decisions they've made and what their plans are for this region. The other one I mentioned earlier is the Job Skills and Employment Pathways Forum. Again, this is another opportunity to advocate for the needs of business around how we want to employ people, what we need from employees, and what we need as connection points between education and skills body providers and the workplace to make it possible for us to find good people for our businesses. So if advocacy and being a voice for your region is something you have a bit of an interest in, then please reach out to Glenn, because he's putting together a working group at the moment to help define our processes. Phil Patelis, who is one of our project officers this year, previously on our board committee, is continuing to drive our systems and technology program, and the big challenge that we have this year is the movement from our existing system, Chamber Master, into a brand new system which will increase our capacity significantly. There's lots of work to be done on that, and some detailed scoping is the next stage of our process, and we're hoping to be able to build that out midway through this year and have that ready to go in the early new financial year. So Phil may tap you on the shoulder if you're in the IT&T space to participate not just in that project, but also in our IT volunteers team. And there is a IT&T Business Leaders Lunch, which is being held later this year, which will also talk about advanced manufacturing as well. So if you're interested in anything IT&T and systems, we'd encourage you to reach out to Phil and have a chat about what we're doing and how you might be able to support us. So just to wrap up, I wanted to do an acknowledgement to all of our support partners, our sponsors, and all of our volunteer leaders. This slide you can see on screen is all of the current businesses that are involved on a day-to-day basis with us in supporting what we do. We just simply couldn't do what we do as a chamber without the support, both in-kind support, time and experience and input and financial support, without all these organisations contributing. So if being a part of the Chamber and supporting us is something which you would like to be a part of, then please reach out to Richard, myself, or any of our leadership team, and we'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you. But a big thank you to all of those organisations who do support us on a day-to-day basis and help us do what we do, and we're really very grateful for that. We're going to wrap up the official general meeting now. I thank you for taking the time to watch this recording and for those who were able to attend today. Again, as I said, if you have any specific questions about any information that we've covered here or just anything generally about the Chamber, please reach out to us either at membership@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au or support@sydneyhillsbusiness.com.au, and we'd be more than happy to connect you with the right team member to assist you. But we just welcome you to any of our future events and encourage you to be more a part of the Chamber, and we thank you for your participation today.